Look at that. Hey guys, this is Gene Jensen with BassResource.com. Today I want to talk about jerkbaits. This is a Smithwick Rogue. Oh my goodness, that's about a 5-pound bass, 4.5, 5 pounds. Nice heavy fish. But that's basically what we're going to talk about today. Talk about the ins and outs. It's taken me about an hour to figure these fish out and figure out what color jerkbait they wanted. But I'm proud of that one. All right, let's start off with going over the equipment that I'm using. What I've got here is a medium moderate action crankbait rod. It's 7 feet long. The reason I like a medium moderate is because you have enough flex in your tip to be able to work the bait good, to be able to get these hooks set in the fish's mouth without ripping them out. It's just an all around good jerkbait rod, great crankbait rod, things like that. The reel is a Revo. The line is I've got what, 12-pound monofilament on this reel, and I prefer monofilament with for a jerkbait. I want a jerkbait when it's sitting in the water to sit nose down a little bit, okay? And if I weight it the right way, it's going to sit nose down, and I don't want the line to pull it down, so I'm not going to use fluorocarbon most of the time. If I'm fishing really deep, like with these deep diving ones, I would prefer fluorocarbon, but I'm not going to change line out just because of that. Anyway, I want the jerkbait to sit nose down. This is a Smithwick Rogue. The good thing so far about Smithwick Rogues are most of them have suspended pretty good right out of the box. I still will add just a little bit of weight to get them to nose down, but that's about it. The reel speed, I like a high-speed reel to 6.3 to 1 or 7.1 to 1 or something like that. It just helps me to collect line a little bit better. But anyway, let's go over what I do with the lure to get it to suspend. Every once in a while, you'll get a lure that will not sit still in the water, and in this cold water, I don't want it to float. So I'm gonna throw it out just like that. I'm gonna reel it down, and I'm gonna sit and look at it and watch it. And if it floats up, I've got a few things I need to do to it in order to get it to either suspend or sink. I prefer it to suspend, but if it sinks real slow, I'm fine with that too. All right, here we go. First thing I do, if it floats up to the surface, is I take this front hook off. This is a number 6 hook. I'm going to take it off and I'm going to put a number 4 on it. And then I'm going to run it and I'm going to test it again. If it still floats, I'm going to take a split ring out of my tackle box, and I'm going to put a split ring onto the split ring that's already on there. Not onto the hook, not onto the little eye, but onto the split ring. Okay, and I'm going to put it back in there and test it. On the rare occasion that it still floats up, I'm going to change this middle hook out to a number 4. But you know, very rarely have I ever had to do that, but it does happen. But like I said, the idea is to get your jerkbait to either suspend or to sink just really slowly. These bass are real lethargic. They're going to come up off the bottom and to look at this bait, and it's really nice to have a bait that at least either sits there, but I'd like to, you know, it's nice to have a bait that sinks real slow and goes to the bass. Okay, your hooks need to be really sharp. I usually change my hooks out anyway to gamakatsus or something else, especially on these rogues. When you're fishing these kind of conditions, right now we have a fairly cloudy day, some good wind. I got out of the wind so I could do this video, but the more chop on the water, the more flash I want to have on my bait. Okay, the less chop I'm gonna start looking at these clear baits. Don't settle on one brand of jerkbait. Okay, every one of them has its own personality basically. I've got Smithwicks, I have Spro McSticks, I have Lucky Craft Pointers. All of them will do just fine under certain conditions, and you can rotate through them to figure out which ones the bass want. I went through probably 8 different jerkbaits this morning until I found the one that they wanted to hit. Let's see, water temps that I'm looking for when I'm jerkbait fishing would be between 40 and 52, 53 degrees. Right now I'm at the upper end of that, 52, 53. When I'm fishing it like I would in winter conditions. And anything warmer than that, as you get into the warmer months, you can get by with a jerkbait that floats to the surface, and you can work it a lot faster. That's when I switch over to what they call a rip bait, which is one that, you know, you've got a good erratic action. KVD's brand out of Strike King is a really good erratic action. A floating Smithwick, same thing. You're going to work it a lot faster, so you don't have to worry about it having to suspend or sinking. You just don't have to. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to, basically how to work this thing. You're thinking, you know, think about it. You've got cold water, you've got lethargic fish. Even the bait fish are lethargic. And you want it to make it look like a dying bait fish. So you make a good long cast out. Okay. You wind it down to depth. This one goes about 6 feet deep. And then you kill it put it on a slack line. And you just sit there. The colder the water, the longer I'm going to sit there, up to 45 seconds to a minute. Then I'm going to give it 2 jerks on a slack line without touching my reel handle. I'm really bad at wanting to jerk it and reel at the same time. And what it does when you do that is you keep a tight line and you don't get that erratic jerk that you want. Okay? And you just let it sit there 15, 20, 30 more seconds. Another jerk. Okay? You can pull it, let it sit still, and jerk it. All right, and work that back to the boat. All right, let's do that one more time. You'll make a long cast out. You're gonna crank the reel 4, 5, 6 times to get it down to depth. And you're gonna pause. Watch your line. This is all about line watching. You want to have that line as slack as you possibly can. So you're watching your line for a jump. Okay? After several seconds, patience is the key. 15, 20, 30 seconds. Jerk, jerk. Pause for longer. 10, 15 seconds. Jerk, jerk. Always bringing it, jerking it on a slack line, and you jerk it on a slack line like you would topwater, and then bring slack line back into your rod. Let's see if I can show this. Okay. I think I'm in too shallow water. Anyway, it's a jerk back to a slack line. So jerk, jerk, and then you let your line lay in the water, and you sit there and watch it, and you're watching for your line jump. That is so key, because if you have a tight line, that bait's still moving forward, and you want that bait to sit perfectly still. Okay. All right. Well, let's sit down in my dirty boat. I've been fishing for 3 days, and I get pretty sloppy. I like to throw my stuff down on the floor. But let's go over a few of the jerk baits that I have in here. I've got a Super Rogue, which is a small version, 2 hooks. They all suspend. I've got Spromic sticks. If you look at these are the ones, Spros and Smithwicks are the ones I really like to use in the wintertime. Look at their bills. Look at how they are a little bit bigger, a little bit rounder, and the angle that they go down at. Now let's look at a rip bait. Let me find a decent one that I can get out. Here's a Rapala. See how small that bill is? And it's up further in front of it. And the same thing with a pointer. This is the Strike King rip bait. Got a bigger bill. I would use this one in the wintertime too, but not quite so much, and I wouldn't work it quite so much. But this is the KVD rip bait. So when I'm looking for a wintertime bait, I'm looking for one of these that have one of the big bills. Just my preference. It has a better swimming action, a tighter swimming action. You're not going to get the huge rips that, or the huge back and forth erratic motion that you would get from a rip bait. But just play around with them. Figure out what you have or what you have confidence in. Go fish them. It's taken me about 2 or 3 years to get confidence in a jerkbait, mainly because our wintertime pattern is so short. Really, these bass don't start feeding decent on jerkbaits for me until the water temperature has reached its coldest and then is on its way back up. And when it hits about 40 degrees, I start throwing a jerkbait. Very seldom does it get below 40 degrees around here. So it's just, you know, play the conditions. Try a jerkbait out. Try a rip bait out all summer long, and we'll see. Let's get back and I'll finish up this video. Feels like a decent one. He's got me wrapped around something. Ah, he might have me wrapped around something. Is he still on there? Feels like he's still on there. There he is, he just came out. Oh yeah, he's a good fish. Oh! Yeah. Another decent fish. Well, like I always say, this is a bass resource. Get the answer to all. You get the answer to all your questions about bass fishing. Try a jerkbait in cold weather and you might catch some pretty decent fish.